Y'all gonna think I'm trolling with this video. I swear I am not trolling. I am for real. I am serious. I'm dead ass. Like for real. All right. What's up? What's up? What's up? It's Veronica. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Veronica. I'm a travel writer, travel vlogger, overall travel enthusiast. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're watching this, hopefully it's because the description or the headline sucked you in. No, I am not trolling. I am for real. It's 2025 and you need to start flying on Spirit and Frontier. I know. But for real, you really need to. And I'm gonna tell you why. So this is my second video sitting down here in the library in my building. I posted a video last week talking about the Tracy Ellis Ross show, which that did pretty well for me considering it's not a vlog. It was really kind of like a topical conversation and it did surprisingly well and I was able to gain some subscribers. So I'm trying to find my groove with these videos and really trying to switch it up because obviously I'm not jet setting multiple times a month or things like that. I gotta work, I got bills. So I'm working through some ideas and I'm glad you guys are watching and checking it out. So funny enough, the idea of this video came to me when I was talking with one of my coworkers because we're both going to be traveling to Las Vegas next month. So we were looking at the dates and things like that. And I was telling her, I was like, oh yeah, it looks like that weekend to travel to Vegas is real cheap. And she was like, oh yeah, I'm flying Delta. And I'm like, And she had made it clear to me like before she's strictly a Delta flyer. Obviously, Delta is the top of the top. And you know, if you're loyal to an airline, I understand that. In a way, I'm more loyal to the dollar and the destination than the airline. Baby, if it's cheap, I'm gonna fly. Like I'm going off whatever the lowest price is. So for that weekend in Vegas, I wanna say when I looked up Spirit, it was maybe 140, whereas Delta was like 250. Not a bad difference, but you know, depending on your life, that $100 is a difference. So that idea really came to me because if you have travel conversations with people, one thing that people can agree on, they'd be like, I'm not flying Spirit, I'm not flying Frontier. And I'd be like, okay. But it's like, whenever I fly Spirit, there's never an empty seat. There's never an empty flight. Somebody is on that flight. So we need to be for real. This video is actually me making the case that you need to consider Spirit and Frontier when you're traveling. It is. And like, they're not paying me, obviously. They don't know me, they're not paying me. But it's just something that's been on my mind. And I think the top reason for me is stop spending unnecessary money. That's the first reason. I got 5 reasons I'm gonna tell y'all. The first reason is stop spending unnecessary money. Just like I was talking about my friend and the price difference. Yeah, if you got $100, you could spend it. But it's like, why? Now, one could say, and I understand, Delta, you're getting a premium service no matter what seat you sit in. Basic economy to first class. They're gonna get you some water, they're gonna get you some snacks. You know, if you fly Spirit, you better bring your own snacks and your own water. But I would say the main argument, especially with travel, if you're someone like me who likes to travel every month or just travel consistently, I need every dollar in my pocket. Every dollar in my pocket. Now, obviously, I'm not going to skimp on some things. I don't want a cheap hotel room. I don't want a cheap experience. But if I'm going to Las Vegas Or if I'm going to Miami, I'm going to Atlanta from New York. I do live in New York. So I'm not spending all that money on a flight from New York to Miami. I'm not. Or to Atlanta or to Chicago or to something like that. I do understand not flying Spirit from like New York to LA. That is a long flight. That's almost an international flight. Like, that can be uncomfortable. But if you're doing short haul flights, I am a proponent of using Spirit and Frontier on those short haul flights. You're trying to get where you're going. Like, you going to Disney, you going to Orlando, get the Frontier flight. Like, for real. My second reason, or the second thing is, you should get comfortable with maybe a small amount of discomfort to get where you're going. If you're like me and you've ever been on a megabus and a Greyhound bus, it was not the best experience. But guess what? You got to your destination. And that's how I feel about Spirit and Frontier. Now for me, when I fly Spirit or if I fly Frontier, actually any airline, I like to be in the front of the plane, but particularly with Spirit and Frontier. Because as you move to the back, the seats, they kind of get tighter, they kind of get close, like, I don't want that, and then you have to wait longer to get off the plane. So when I fly Spirit, I'm not behind row 5. I'm not, unless I don't want to pay for seats or something like that. I'm not behind row 5 at all. But if I was, like when I went to Chicago, when I went home in July, I didn't feel like paying for a seat. I don't want to do that. I was in the back, but I was cool. The flight is an hour and a half. And it's just like, by the time you blink, you're already there. So it's like, if you can take a small amount of discomfort, it's worth it. I'm telling y'all, it's worth it. I'm also going to say what Spirit and Frontier has that I don't believe a lot of airlines have. I know United has a program where they allow you where you'll always fly United Economy Plus. I think that's an additional cost. But nonetheless, Spirit has a Spirit Saver program and Frontier has a Go Wild Pass. I do have the Spirit Saver program. It's $70 a year. And what happens is you save money on flights, seats, and baggage. So say, for example, you look up some flights, you're on Google Flights, which is what I use, and you see there's a round trip flight for $150 or something like that. If you go on the app and you're a Spirit Saver, your flight is going to be at least $20, maybe $30 cheaper. And that depends on, I believe it depends on the flight destination or something like that. I just looked up a flight to Miami because I'm going to Miami in like 2 weeks. And online, the flight was $104. But when I looked at it on my app, because I'm a Spirit Saver, my flight was $70. So to me, it's definitely well worth the $70 that you spend for the yearly pass. And it saved me so much money when I'm going to places that I always go, like home or to Miami. Like, these are places I go every year, and it's really worth having the Spirit Saver. Now, the Frontier Pass I don't have, but I was like Googling it and looking it up. If you want to do a yearly pass, it's $600, but you can also do a seasonal pass for like fall, winter for $300, or spring, summer, that's like $300. And I believe Frontier has a lot of different hubs: Denver, Philly, Atlanta. And a lot of the comments, like a lot of the Reddits were saying it's worth it, especially if you are near a hub. You can really catch flights. And I believe if you buy the Go Wild Pass, I believe you fly for free. I'm going to double check before I post this. That might be worth it. For me personally, I'm not spending $600 on a Frontier Pass. I'm not going to do that. I will fly them, but I'm not going to do that. I'm definitely more of a Spirit girl than a Frontier girly. I think my favorite thing about Spirit and maybe Frontier is that it's so much easier to accumulate points with them. I think you get points anytime you add something additional to like your Spirit flight. If you buy seats, if you buy food on the flight and things like that, you can easily get like thousands of points. And then also you can use those points on flights. One of the flights, one of my flights to Chicago, I know I have before. I've flown home to Chicago from New York to Chicago for like 2,500 points. Very, very easy, very basic. And it's not like with United, you can't just use your points and book a flight. You have to log on to like some other different site. You can't even use their app. So I'm like, it's very easy to accumulate points and then use them on the spot. I think the final reason for me is like if you're a person that does a lot of weekend travel or 2 night to 3 night trips, that is where Spirit and Frontier come in handy. Like I was mentioning, I'm going to Miami. I'm going to be in Miami like Saturday to Monday. I'm flying Spirit. I have my trusty underseater bag. I actually just got a new bag from TikTok that I'm going to review because I'm like, let me see if it's going to hold up with my trusty underseater bag. But I'm flying from Sunday to Monday. Also doing that, going to Vegas next month, flying Sunday to Monday. That's the best time to really utilize Spirit because it's like for the same flight that you're going to fly from New York to Las Vegas or to Miami, you're going to spend more money. And it's not like you don't need a big carry-on. At least I don't need a big carry-on. I pack relatively light. So you don't need a big carry-on. You don't need to check in a bag. You don't need to do all that. And that's really where kind of Spirit and Frontier come in handy. It's just like easy to do it. And I know people have their apprehension. people have Spirit and Frontier horror stories. I have a Frontier horror story, but I feel like they made up for it. Because I'll say about Frontier, if your flight is delayed, your flight is canceled, they will quickly deposit, they will quickly refund you or send you a voucher, and they'll also send you a food voucher if you're like waiting for some hours or anything like that. That happened to me when I was on my way to Puerto Rico a couple months ago. They refunded me the flight and they gave me like a little meal voucher that I used on my flight. So it was like, if you're gonna be there to immediately like fix your mess ups, then I can rock with you. I'll say that. And yeah, I think for me, I say we, because I know I'm not the only one alone in this. We is not rich. You watch the news, you see what's going on in the economy, people losing their jobs every day. I lost my job. So it's like, you still want to travel, you still want to have a good livelihood, you still want to have fun, you still want to see friends and things like that. Stop spending money on overpriced flights. Like for real. If you got it, you got it. I ain't got it. But if you got it, do your thing. But I feel like you should consider flying Spirit. Flying Spirit and Frontier, I'm telling you. I haven't had any just like absolutely horrible experiences. Like nothing that's gonna deter me from flying Spirit and Frontier. It's just not. I want to save my money. I want to keep traveling. I want to keep just being out in the world. I'm going to do it. Now, obviously, Spirit and Frontier are not at as many airports in the United States as sort of the big three, the Delta, the American, the United. They're not everywhere. But if you're in certain places, thankfully, I'm surrounded in an area with 3 airports. There's a spirit at each location. So I'm able to have just a multitude of options when I'm flying certain places. So if you're able to, I don't be scared of spirit. And if you want to splurge and spend a couple extra dollars, then just upgrade your seat in spirit. Pack you a little sandwich, bring your chips, bring your water bottle. We trying to travel. We not trying to go bankrupt traveling. We not trying to sacrifice the hotel, sacrifice the excursions, sacrifice our good time by buying an overpriced flight. Buy that spirit flight. For real. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. This is a cute little fun video that I really came up with just like in conversation with one of my friends. And honestly, I really hope y'all consider flying Spirit or Frontier. I'm not even like an ambassador, nothing like that. I just want my people to be out here traveling. My people, if I say my people, I mean you. If you're watching this video, I want you to be out here traveling. Do what you do. You don't have to be, I'm not too big or too proud to be like, no, I flew on Spirit. Absolutely. And I'll be back. Okay? Thanks for watching, guys. Do all of the stuff. Comment, like, subscribe. Tell me, do you fly Spirit? Or you like, I ain't gonna do that. Or you like, you know what? I might do that. Let me know.